But what we need to talk to Merce about now is what happened at the Emirates today.
The Emirates Stadium, glowing under the Champions League floodlights, was meant to be the scene of another famous Arsenal night in Europe. Instead, it became the theatre of injustice, a night where VAR turned from savior to villain and robbed the Gunners of what could have been a defining moment in their campaign. Arsenal fought with everything, dominated their visitors Olympiacos Piraeus, and yet all anyone will remember is the moment when Leandro Trossard was chopped down in the box, and the decision that should have been automatic was astonishingly waved away. The air inside the Emirates had been electric from the very beginning. The anthem had boomed across the stadium, the supporters in full voice, the banners flying, and the energy of a European knockout tie was unmistakable. Arsenal carried that atmosphere onto the pitch, pressing high, zipping the ball around with speed, and suffocating Olympiacos into their own half. Declan Rice bossed the midfield, Odegaard pulled the strings, and Martinelli kept stretching the defense with darting runs. Everything pointed towards an Arsenal breakthrough. Then came the moment that would define the night, the moment fans will replay in their minds for years. Trossard, so often Arsenal's man for the big European occasions, collected a pass at the edge of the box. He twisted, turned, and danced past one defender before gliding into the area. Just as he shaped to shoot, a desperate Olympiacos defender slid across him, making reckless contact with his shin and sending him crashing to the turf. The sound of 60,000 fans gasping filled the night. Every Arsenal player threw up their arms, certain the referee would point to the spot. Replays were brutal. The contact was clear. The foul was obvious. Trossard had been denied the chance to score by clumsy defending, and the laws of the game demanded a penalty. The referee paused, listening to VAR. The stadium fell silent, waiting. This was the justice system of modern football at work. It was impossible to imagine any other outcome. But then, impossibility became reality. The referee shook his head, gestured for play to continue, and Olympiacos hoofed the ball away. No penalty. VAR did not intervene. The Emirates erupted in fury, boos cascading down like thunder, disbelief and rage echoing through the stands. Fans clutched their heads, some laughed bitterly in disbelief, while others screamed abuse towards the officials. Trossard sat on the ground with his arms outstretched, eyes wide, unable to comprehend what he had just witnessed. Mikel Arteta exploded on the touchline. He stormed towards the fourth official, shouting furiously, before pacing back to his technical area, shaking his head in disgust. His players, too, were rattled. Gabriel Magalhaes gestured furiously at the referee, Odegaard kept muttering under his breath, and even the normally calm Declan Rice was seen throwing his arms up in protest. It was the kind of moment that changes not just games, but entire campaigns. Afterwards, Arteta minced no words. "It's scandalous," he said. "I don't care how many times they look at it, it's a penalty. Everyone here saw it. Everyone at home saw it. Except those making the decision. It's unacceptable at this level, in this competition." His words echoed the mood of Arsenal fans around the world. Social media exploded within minutes of the incident. Clips of the foul spread across Twitter and Instagram, racking up millions of views, with fans from all clubs calling it one of the worst decisions VAR had ever produced. Arsenal supporters trended hashtags accusing UEFA of corruption, of bias, of incompetence. Pundits lined up to pile in, with some calling it daylight robbery and others saying bluntly that Arsenal were cheated. Former players who know the pain of European heartbreak were quick to sympathize, with one legend declaring that Arsenal deserved better. That decision is a disgrace to football. The effect on the match itself was crushing. Arsenal, who had been relentless before the incident, lost their rhythm. Anger replaced patience, desperation replaced composure. They still dominated, still pushed Olympiacos into their shell, but the final touch deserted them. Shots were snatched at, crosses overhit, and the visitors, buoyed by the lifeline VAR had thrown them, defended like warriors. Every block and clearance was celebrated like a goal, every second that ticked down another victory in itself. For Arsenal, the injustice cut deeper because of what was at stake. This wasn't a group stage dead rubber. This was a Champions League knockout tie, the kind of match that defines careers and seasons. A penalty at that moment would almost certainly have changed everything. The Gunners could have taken the lead, could have forced Olympiacos to open up, could have killed the tie at home. Instead, they travel to Greece with the tie still balanced, knowing one cruel decision has left their destiny far more uncertain. It wasn't just about this match. Arsenal fans are tired of being on the wrong end of VAR. In the Premier League, they have already endured a string of controversial calls. Now, on the European stage, their luck with officials seems no better. For many, it feels like a pattern, not an accident. The cries of conspiracy may sound dramatic, but in the emotional aftermath of nights like this, it is hard to blame supporters for feeling like forces beyond their team's control are working against them. The scenes at full time were telling. Arsenal players trudged off the pitch, shoulders slumped, eyes still filled with disbelief. Trossard in particular looked broken, shaking his head as he walked towards the tunnel, still replaying the foul in his mind. The fans booed the officials relentlessly, their chants of "We want justice" ringing out into the North London night. Arteta clapped his players defiantly, urging them to stay strong, but his expression told the story: anger, frustration, and the knowledge that Arsenal had been denied something they had earned. Football is supposed to be fair. Technology was supposed to ensure that fairness. Yet once again, it was technology that failed Arsenal on one of the biggest nights of their season. Instead of celebrating a famous win, the club finds itself at the heart of another VAR storm, with the bitter taste of injustice lingering long after the final whistle. And so, the narrative shifts. Instead of talking about Arsenal's dominance, instead of praising Trossard's brilliance, instead of reveling in a Champions League night at the Emirates, the conversation is about scandal, corruption, and incompetence. It is about how Arsenal were robbed in plain sight. The return leg in Greece will decide the tie, but no matter what happens there, the memory of this night will remain. The night when Leandro Trossard was fouled, the whole stadium saw it, the whole world saw it, and yet, somehow, VAR did not.